today I'm talking about the TAC DRIVER 2.75s. These are a shield cut vane, a little bit of a stiffer vane. What I'm going to do is fletch one of my arrows, kind of show you how I do that, talk about adhesion because I know a lot of people are worried about how they stick to the arrow shaft themselves. I'm going to talk about flight, how they compare to my previous vanes, the AAE Max Stealth. Going to talk about sound briefly. You know, I don't have any mics or anything to give you exact decibels on them, but I'm just going to do a quick review. I'm going to shoot a little bit at probably 20, 60, and maybe 100, just to kind of give you an overview of how I like them and how they fly. Let's go. Alright, so before I get into it, I want to talk about the glue and primer pen pack that I bought. I ordered this off Lancaster with my 36 pack of 2.75s. A lot of the adhesion issues that I hear are from people who don't use the primer pen, or I don't know how much of an issue it is, but the glue. I just went in and bought both of them. I figured if that's the company says to use these, it's a two-part system, so why not just use their glue? It's an extra, 20 or so bucks. It's probably gonna last you a few dozen arrows. Just use it. That I fletched 2 of these up yesterday, and they were a lot easier than even the AAE Max Stealth. So I had no adhesion issues with these. They glued in 15 minutes. I was shooting them in 18 minutes. They stick fine. I shot this one in the dirt on purpose, and there's no tearing, bending, nothing's coming up, no dirt stuck to them. Another issue with these Max Stealth is since they're so soft, you hit a target or grass or dirt, like I have a red target and a green target, and these things are constantly changing colors if I blow through a target or hit the top of it or something. Dirt sticks on these all the time, and any dye that you hit with these will stay on there forever. So these are right, just if you like white vanes, maybe they're not for you. And I'm a little bit OCD about that, so. Another thing I wanted to go over was I'm using a Bitzenberger. A lot of the videos on these vanes were using last chance fletching jigs, which is a good jig. It's just you can't have a helical on it. And the main concern with these vanes, since they are a stiffer vane, how they would handle a helical and staying on the arrow, since a helical will be turning that vane around the shaft. So I just wanted to say that I'm using a Bitzenberger. Like I said before, I already fletched 2 arrows up yesterday, and I've had absolutely 0 issues with the helical that's on this. I'm not using a straight clamp. I'm using a left helical, okay, with a 3-degree offset. So all things considered, that's a pretty substantial helical offset combination, and I'm having no issue with adhesion at all, using their primer pen and glue. There you go. So I'm kind of doing the splits here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I have 3 vanes already done on this shaft, and I'm doing a 4 fletch. So obviously I'll show you my 4th vane. All I do before I do any priming or gluing or anything, I put the vane on in the clamp and I test to see the height of that vane on the actual arrow shaft. So I make sure, because I have a scratch on the clamp that I line the back of the vane up with, but sometimes you'll get different length vanes, like there's a lot of variables in this. Maybe I'll go to the inside of the scratch or the outside of it. So all I'm doing is just double checking, making sure that these vanes are going to be straight on my arrow on both ends. All I'm doing now is making sure that my felt on my primer pen is wet, and I'm just going to wet the ends here. Okay? So don't overdo it. I just do a couple up and down and then 1 down. Apparently, mosquitoes everywhere. Apparently TAC vanes are very sensitive to acetone or whatever is in their primer pen. So just don't overdo it. More is not always better when it comes to fletching arrows. So all I'm doing now is placing 4 little dots of glue. So 1 on the end, 2 in the middle, and the 4th on the, obviously the other end. All I do then is slide the glue around the base of the vane. You don't want too much glue where it's going to be leaking all over your other veins when you squeeze this on. You do want enough that there's not going to be any air pockets in the vane, especially on the ends of the vane. You don't want one end of your vane coming up or one corner peeling up because there's no glue there. Because the second that hits anything, you know, an animal, a target, or runs into dirt or anything, that's going to come ripping off. So all I'm doing now is placing the clamp on, and I like to lay my vanes down like that first. So I'll do the back of the vane down first. And then all I'm doing is applying pressure for about, I go 25 seconds, but that's just because I'm OCD. Some guys say they can get away with 10 seconds. Just place a good amount of pressure where you're gonna get all those air pockets out. You probably wanna see a little bit of glue leaking out the sides. You can always clean that up with Q-tips. And I'm just holding this for 25 seconds, placing a decent amount of pressure. Maybe push up against the arrow slightly on the bottom so you're not bending your arrow. All right, so after that's been on there for about 30 seconds or so, I slowly take the clamp off and slide the arrow out of the jig. Okay, and this is where I like to make sure that I didn't miss any spots of glue, because once they're hard, they're pretty hard to get off. Like they pretty much already are. So this looks pretty good. I'll let this sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. I already have 2 fletched up, so those ones I'm gonna use. But normally, I'd let this sit for 15 minutes. That's what the glue says. It says you can shoot them in 15. So I'll let this sit for 15 minutes, and then I'll go test these vanes out. All right, so it's been about 2 to 3 weeks of shooting these vanes. I probably got 300 to 400 shots with them. I really like them. I've shot them through targets, I've shot them into the dirt, I've shot them into the ground and left them for a week on purpose, and I've had 0 issues with any adherence. They fly great, they sound great. One thing I've noticed is that if you really torque a shot or really throw a shot, sometimes I'll get a whistle very faintly that I've never had with any other vanes. So it's just something to check out for yourself, but definitely something I noticed. I like that they're stiffer. They're definitely a little bit of a lighter vane. You know, instead of shooting at 60, I was getting about a 3-inch high group compared to my old vanes, which were the Max Stealth at about 9.2 grains, which I think these are 6.3 or something. So about 12 grains lighter per arrow. I really like them. I'm gonna run you through a couple shots and just see how they group. It's very windy today, so maybe we'll get some weird shots, but here we go. All right, so there you have it. That is the TAC Driver 2.75. I'll overlay an image of how I've been grouping. I shot about 15 groups, and they're all pretty much hitting the exact same spot. So really, really impressed with these vanes. Super quiet, super fast, lightweight, stiff vanes. Like I said, TAC Driver 2.75s. Check them out.